After 70, one of the most dangerous things you can do at the table is not eating butter, and it is not eating eggs. It is eating the way modern life trained you to eat, fast, distracted, and late. Here is the number I want you to remember: 30. In one Japanese cohort, fast eaters had a 30% higher risk of developing metabolic syndrome over 3 years. 30. That is not a small number. And if you think a hurried dinner in front of the television is harmless, stay with me until the end, because what feels normal can quietly chip away at your blood sugar, your balance, your sleep, and your independence. Here is what most people get wrong. They think eating habits only affect weight, maybe heartburn, maybe a little fatigue after lunch. But after 70, food is not just fuel, it is information. It tells your muscles whether to stay strong, your brain whether to stay sharp, your arteries whether to stay flexible, and your stomach whether to send acid upward or keep it where it belongs. This is about whether you can carry your own groceries, get up from the floor, heal after an illness, and trust your own body 10 years from now. My name is Dr. Grant. I have spent more than 15 years caring for older adults in clinics, hospitals, and rehabilitation rooms. And I have spent that time reading the peer-reviewed literature that too often never gets translated into plain English. I am not here to sell you a supplement or scare you into a course. I am here to show you what the evidence says, what I have seen in real patients. And so what should you do instead when common eating habits start working against you? And one item later on this list surprises almost everyone, even the people who think they eat pretty well. It is not sugar, it is not red meat. It is the timing of your evening meal and what you do in the hour that follows. Stay with me until the end, because that single habit is often hiding in plain sight. And before we go further, if you are watching this in your 70s, your 80s, or beyond, tell me your age in the comments, or tell me how many steps you got today. I read every single comment. This channel is a community for people who want the truth in calm language, not hype, not shame, and not fad advice. Before we count through the list, let me give you 3 simple ideas to hold in your mind. First is glucose control, meaning how smoothly sugar moves through your bloodstream after a meal. Think of your bloodstream like a river delivery system. If too much sugar hits that river at once, the current gets crowded and rough. Second is muscle signaling. Your muscles are not passive. They are listening for protein and movement, waiting for a clear message to repair and stay strong. Third is circadian timing, your internal body clock. Think of it like the manager of a factory shift. When you eat at the wrong time, the night crew is being asked to do the day crew's job. Keep those 3 ideas with you, because every item on this list touches one or more of them. Number 1, eating too fast. Here is what it does inside you. When you rush a meal, your stomach, gut hormones, and brain do not get time to talk to each other. Think of that system like a 3-way phone call with a delay on the line. Your mouth has already taken 3 more bites before your brain gets the message that enough has arrived. You chew less, you swallow larger pieces, and your blood sugar often rises faster because the whole meal turns into a kind of metabolic ambush. A 3-year cohort study from Japan followed 8,941 adults between ages 40 and 75. The fast eaters had a 3.1% incidence of metabolic syndrome, compared with 2.3% in the slower eaters, and after adjustment, the risk was about 30% higher. 30%. That is not a small number. If you ignore this, you do not just risk overeating. You increase the odds of creeping waist gain, insulin resistance, and the kind of fatigue people shrug off until it becomes diabetes, frailty, or both. Let me tell you about someone I will call Helen, 74 years old, from Columbus. She told me she had been a fast eater since raising 3 boys on a clock. Soup, sandwich, done. Her plate was empty before her husband sat down. When we slowed her meals on purpose, 10 extra minutes, fork down between bites, 1 full glass of water before the meal, she said something unforgettable. For the first time in years, she could actually feel full before she felt stuffed. Within months, her afternoon crashes eased, and her waist measurement began to drift down. So what should you do instead? Give yourself 20 minutes for the main part of the meal. Put the fork down every 2 or 3 bites. Chew until the texture changes completely. Start with vegetables, beans, or a broth-based soup if that works for you. Synergy tip: slowing down works even better when the first part of the meal contains fiber and protein, which we will get to. Number 2, making ultra-processed food the center of the meal. Here is what it does inside you. Ultra-processed foods are the foods that arrive engineered to be soft, fast, salty, sweet, and hard to stop eating. Think of them like fireworks for the mouth and fog for the rest of the body. They often combine refined starch, industrial fats, extra sodium, and additives in a way that makes your appetite less reliable. You eat quickly, your glucose spikes more sharply, and the meal may satisfy your tongue without truly nourishing your muscles, gut microbes, or blood vessels. In the Sun cohort from Spain, researchers followed 19,899 adults for a median of 10.4 years. People eating more than 4 servings of ultra-processed foods a day had a 62% higher risk of death from any cause, and each extra daily serving was linked to an 18% increase. 62%. That is not a small number. Now, that does not mean one cracker or one frozen meal ends your future. It means a pattern matters. A lunch of sweet yogurt, white bread, deli meat, and chips does not just pass through you. It trains your appetite and crowds out real food. I think of a patient I will call Walter, 81, from Tulsa. He lived alone, hated cooking, and told me he was eating what he called easy food. Packaged pastries in the morning, canned pasta at noon, frozen dinners at night. My first reaction wasn't fear, it was frustration, because so much of his fatigue looked like age, but was really a food environment problem. We swapped one meal at a time, eggs and oats instead of pastries, tuna, olive oil, and beans instead of canned pasta, rotisserie chicken, frozen vegetables, and fruit instead of the usual boxed dinner. 6 weeks later, he told me the house smelled better, his ankles were less puffy, and he had enough energy to walk to his mailbox without stopping halfway. So what should you do instead? Build the plate from foods that still resemble where they came from. Aim for 1 solid protein, 1 high-fiber plant food, and 1 colorful produce choice at each main meal. Examples are salmon with lentils and spinach, Greek yogurt with berries and walnuts, or chicken with brown rice and broccoli. If a package is doing the chewing for you, be cautious. Number 3, skipping fiber at the meal. Here is what it does inside you. Fiber is the part of plant food your body does not fully digest, and that is exactly why it is so useful. Think of fiber like a sponge and a speed bump at the same time. It holds water, adds bulk, slows down how fast glucose enters the blood, and feeds the microbes in your gut that help calm inflammation and support regular bowel movements. After 70, when constipation, cholesterol problems, and blood sugar swings get more common, fiber stops being optional. The NIHAARP Diet and Health Study looked at more than 388,000 men and women. Those in the highest fiber intake group had a 22% lower risk of death compared with those in the lowest group. And for every extra 10 grams of fiber a day, the risk dropped further, 22%. Again, not a small number. If you ignore fiber, meals become sharper and rougher on your system. Hunger returns sooner. Constipation becomes normal when it should not be normal. Cholesterol can rise. The gut microbiome, the helpful bacterial community in your intestines, loses some of the raw material it needs. Let me tell you about Rosa, 78, from Phoenix. She thought her problem was just getting older. She felt heavy after meals, skipped days without a bowel movement, and kept crackers by her chair because she was always peckish. We changed breakfast first: oatmeal, chia seeds, berries, and plain yogurt. At lunch, beans or a salad before the rest of the plate. Within 2 weeks, she said her stomach felt quieter. That was her word, quieter. Less bloating, better regularity. less snacking at night. So what should you do instead? Aim for at least 8 to 10 grams of fiber at 2 meals each day, then work upward as tolerated. Practical choices are oats, beans, lentils, berries, pears, apples, vegetables, and ground flax. Increase gradually and drink water with it. Synergy tip: fiber and slower eating are partners. One gives your body better signals, and the other gives you time to hear them. Number 4. Saving most of your protein for dinner. Here is what it does inside you. Your muscles need repeated reminders to maintain themselves. Think of muscle like a retirement account that still needs regular deposits. If you give your body a tiny amount of protein at breakfast, a little more at lunch, and then a huge steak at dinner, you are not sending steady repair signals through the day. You are making one large deposit after the windows were half closed. A randomized trial from Wageningen in the Netherlands studied 65 frail older adults. The group receiving 15 grams of extra protein at breakfast and another 15 grams at lunch improved their physical performance score from 8.9 to 10.0 over 24 weeks, while the placebo group barely moved. That works out to roughly a 12% improvement in physical performance from a simple shift in daytime protein support. The benefit here is not vanity, it is function. Better leg strength, better recovery, better odds that your body can handle a cold, a fall, or a hospital stay. I remember a man I will call Samuel, 77, from Dayton. Breakfast was toast and jam, lunch was soup, dinner was where the meat showed up. He told me his thighs felt like they were disappearing. We changed the pattern, not just the total. Eggs or yogurt in the morning, turkey, cottage cheese, or beans at lunch, fish or chicken at dinner. 3 months later, he stood up from the waiting room chair without pushing off the armrest, and he noticed it before I did. So, what should you do instead? Aim for roughly 25 to 30 grams of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, unless your own physician has told you to follow a different plan because of kidney disease or another condition. Easy examples are eggs with Greek yogurt, cottage cheese with fruit and nuts, chicken and beans, tofu and vegetables, or fish with lentils. Pair protein with a short walk or light resistance exercise when you can. That is a strong synergy tip, because food tells the muscle what to build, and movement tells it where to build. Number 5. Eating a heavy dinner late, then lying down soon after. Here is the part that should concern you most. Late, heavy eating collides with circadian timing, and lying down soon after adds a second problem by letting stomach contents push the wrong way. Think of your stomach like a mixing bowl with a lid that is supposed to stay closed at the top. If you overfill the bowl late at night and then tip the whole thing backward, acid has an easier time climbing where it does not belong. Researchers from Mass General Brigham and collaborators analyzed 2,945 adults in the United Kingdom, followed for more than 20 years. Older adults with later meal timing had lower 10-year survival, 86.7% versus 89.5% in earlier eaters. And in an older case control study of reflux, people who went to bed within 3 hours of dinner had more than 7 times the odds of reflux compared with those who waited 4 hours or more. If you ignore this, you may think you only have a little heartburn, but poor sleep, nighttime reflux, morning appetite disruption, and worse glucose handling often come with it. Let me tell you about Linda, 82, from Sarasota. She ate lightly all day, then had her largest meal at 8:30, watched 2 hours of television, and drifted off in her recliner. She woke with a sour taste in her throat and blamed old age. We moved dinner earlier by 90 minutes, cut the portion by about 1/3, and replaced the recliner nap with a 10-minute indoor walk and upright reading. 2 weeks later, she said the burning had almost vanished, and she woke up wanting breakfast again. So what should you do instead? Finish dinner at least 3 hours before bed whenever possible. Keep the evening meal smaller than lunch if reflux or poor sleep is an issue. After dinner, stay upright. Walk the hallway, wash dishes, call a friend, fold towels, do anything gentle that keeps gravity on your side. If symptoms continue, Tell your physician, especially if you have trouble swallowing, anemia, weight loss, or chest pain. So far, we have covered speed, processing, fiber, protein, and timing. If this is helping you, subscribe and share this with one person you love. Most appointments do not have enough time to explain food this way, and seniors deserve the truth in language they can use tonight. Let's bring it all together. Eating too fast overloads satiety signals and pushes you toward metabolic trouble. Ultra-processed meals make it easy to overeat while undernourishing the tissues you depend on. Low-fiber meals remove the sponge and the speed bump your gut and blood sugar need. Saving protein for dinner starves your muscles of steady repair signals during the day. Late heavy meals, especially followed by lying down, work against your body clock and invite reflux, poor sleep, and rougher metabolism by morning. Different habits, same body, same result, less resilience than you deserve. If you are wondering what this looks like in real life, let me paint the picture. You wake up, drink a glass of water, and eat a breakfast that asks something useful of your body. Eggs and fruit, or oatmeal with yogurt and nuts. You sit down for it. No standing at the counter, no racing the clock. At lunch, you do not just snack your way through the afternoon and call it a meal. You give your body another clear signal. Beans, fish, chicken, tofu, vegetables, maybe soup, maybe a piece of fruit. Then dinner becomes lighter, calmer, and earlier. Not punishment, not dieting, just better timing for an older body that has earned a little wisdom. This is where many people tell me, "Doctor, that sounds too simple." Yes, it is simple, but simple is not the same thing as weak. Simple habits, repeated daily, are often stronger than dramatic plans you cannot keep. And there is another reason this matters after 70. Recovery time changes. When you are younger, you can get away with more chaos. A late heavy meal, a day of packaged food, a breakfast with no protein, and the body often covers for you. Later in life, the margin gets thinner. Miss the signal often enough and the losses begin to compound. A little less strength this year, a little more reflux next year, a little more fatigue, a little less walking, a little less confidence. That is how independence fades, usually not in one dramatic event, but in tiny surrenders that felt ordinary at the time. I do not say that to frighten you. I say it because once you see the pattern, you can interrupt it. So ask yourself a gentle question tonight. When you sit down to eat, are you helping your future self or merely feeding the moment? Are you building steadier blood sugar, stronger muscle, calmer digestion, and better sleep? Or are you asking your body to clean up another preventable mess? You do not need gourmet meals. You do not need perfect labels or expensive powders. You need attention. You need rhythm. You need a plate that contains real food and a pace that allows your body to respond. Think of that meal as a daily vote. Every breakfast, lunch, and dinner is a ballot cast either for resilience or for drift. I have watched people in their 70s and 80s make these changes and surprise themselves, not with miracles, with traction, better mornings, less bloating, fewer dizzy afternoons, more confidence on the stairs, more appetite at the right time of day, more willingness to leave the house. Sometimes the first win is very small. A person sleeps through the night without burning in the chest. A person notices that one bowl of oatmeal carries them farther than sweet cereal ever did. A person finishes lunch and does not need cookies an hour later. Small wins matter because the body learns from them, and so do you. One more thought. If you live alone, make these changes visible. Put fruit on the table. Keep beans, oats, yogurt, eggs, and frozen vegetables where you can reach them. Set a small timer if you tend to rush. Move the recliner rule into writing. Dinner first, upright after. Your future habits do not have to rely on willpower alone. They can be built into the room around you daily. Here is your plan. 1. Tonight, move dinner a little earlier, even by 30 minutes. 2. At your next meal, slow down enough to make the meal last 20 minutes. 3. Add one real fiber food, beans, oats, berries, or vegetables. 4. Put daytime protein on purpose into breakfast or lunch, about 25 to 30 grams. 5. Choose one packaged meal this week to replace with a simpler plate built from recognizable foods. 6. After dinner, stay upright for at least 3 hours, or as close to that as real life allows. I want to leave you with something deeper than nutrition advice. Growing older is not a failure. It is a privilege. But it asks something from you. It asks that you stop handing your health over to autopilot, because independence is built in very ordinary moments, in how you eat soup, in whether you pause between bites, in whether your breakfast tells your muscles to stay, in whether your evening routine protects your sleep instead of sabotaging it. This is how people keep carrying their own groceries. This is how they keep remembering a grandchild's name at the right moment. This is how they keep laughing at the dinner table instead of sitting there distracted, tired, and uncomfortable. You do not need perfection. You need a few honest corrections, repeated long enough for your body to trust them. If you are over 70, your body is still listening. It is never too late. If you want more clear, science-based guidance for healthy aging, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments which habit you are changing first. Eating slower, adding more fiber, spreading your protein, cutting back packaged food, or finishing dinner earlier. I read every single comment.